Hey everybody, this is Demari, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be doing the November 2019 tarot reading for the sign of Cancer. Now, as you probably know if you've seen my previous two videos, I was trying a two-camera layout just to see, how that would look, whether or not you guys would like it. And unfortunately it just takes too much time. There was a few things that were not quite working right. If you have seen those videos, you'll notice that the camera actually cuts out a couple of times on my phone when I was recording. So I haven't quite got that layout down yet, so I'm kind of wanting to put that on hold right now. I mean, as you know, we're in Mercury retrograde, so that's probably not the best time to experiment with these sort of things. So yeah, I will come back to that and see how I can make it work, but for now I just think that, it's important that I get these messages out to you, particularly as we're already racing through the month, so I just want to pretty much just get stuck in and then I can figure out how to make that work another time. So, Cancer. I'm going to be doing the Celtic cross style spread as usual for the monthlies, using the Wild Unknown Tarot, clarifying with the intuitive as always. So I'm just going to get stuck in and see what's in store for you for the rest of this month. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is just lay out the full spread and then go through each card, and then I'll clarify as we go along, okay, afterwards. So, alright then. Because I just think it would be faster that way, because especially these videos have been a bit longer than I want. So yeah, I don't want to I don't want to make videos too long. I'm trying to reduce the time, so we'll see how it goes. Okay. Alright then, so let's get stuck into it. Sorry, all the smoke here is actually my incense. It's actually more intense than I thought it would be, but maybe it just adds to the vibe, who knows. Anyway, moving forward. So, to begin with, in the position of your present circumstances, you have the Hermit in reverse. So I think usually a lot of the time, especially us Cancerians, we like to go in our shell, right? I know we're crabs, but similar kind of idea with the turtle, that we like to hide in our shell. It's safe in there. We like to retreat. We need that downtime to process, particularly when it comes to our emotions. So with it being in reverse, I feel like lately we've been much more active, a lot more sociable than maybe we usually are. There's been circumstances that have forced us outside of our shell. I say us because I have a Cancer in my sun sign, if you didn't already know. So that's why I say us. So this is relevant to me also. But yeah, generally Cancer. I feel like you have been coming out of your shell a lot more. And because of that, you may feel like, okay, this is kind of a bit overwhelming because, usually you kind of tend to, I think a lot of people, a lot of you are sociable. You do like being around the right types of people you feel comfortable with, but you've probably been way more sociable than you're used to being, particularly in your day-to-day life. So it may be that you feel a little bit overwhelmed with just how much time you're spending with other people, especially if you've been in big crowds or if you've had to go to big events, things like that. You may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with just how much energy you're taking in and how many people have been around you for extended periods of time. So it may be that you're feeling at this time that you kind of need to retreat a little bit just because there's been so much going on. But I think you've been kind of, for the most part, I think you've been enjoying the interaction actually. That in some ways it actually did you a lot of good, because I remember from previous reads that I've done, particularly in the summer, that you kind of needed that, kick out the door to be sociable again, to not just stay in your little cave, right? Because, we tend to do that, particularly if we've got healing and there's things that are going on in our circumstances that are emotionally draining. We tend to retreat from the world, right? So we needed that push to get out there and experience life. So it's good that that happened, but it may be that at this time you need to find the balance, okay? Okay. Excuse me, if I sound a bit strange because I still have a cold and I'm quite blocked. So really bunged up. So if my voice sounds weird, I apologise. There's not much I can do about that, I'm afraid. And I'll probably have to take more pauses just because, you know, it's hard to breathe. But anyway, in regards to the circumstances that are challenging right now is, okay, in the challenge, sorry, the challenge that you're facing at this time, the Seven of Swords. So either this is having to face your own self-deception, or you have to uncover something that's being hidden from you. There's some lie. There's something you're not seeing. I feel like for some of you, it's a lie you're telling yourself to avoid a situation. For others of you, I feel like you're not getting an accurate picture of what's going on. There's something that's hidden from you at this time that you need to uncover, that is important that you find out the truth of the matter and gets to the heart of it, okay? So when we clarify, we'll look at that. But I feel like this is really important because this will have, whatever this is and which way it goes, it's going to have a big impact on how you feel this month, okay? So we'll look at that. So in regards to your recent past, you had the Eight of Cups. So I think a lot of you were just cutting your losses, particularly when it comes to certain romantic connections, when it comes to possibly even like ties with certain family members. I feel like some of you have kind of like just, you know, dusted yourself down and just walked away, you know, literally retreated to the mountains because, you know, there's nothing more that can be done to rectify this issue. Too much has happened. There's been too many things that have transpired, too many, you know, emotions running high and all the rest of it. So you've kind of had to cut your losses and just say, you know what, like, I'm done with this situation. There's nothing more to be gained from it, so I'm just moving forward. I'm walking away from this. So there was a leaving of some sort, and you also left behind a lot of the pain that it caused you, okay? So for some of you, this will be relevant to a relationship that you walked away from. Particularly for the summer months, that was quite prominent. There was like a huge tower moment for a lot of us Cancers. So I know that a lot of people walked away from long-term commitments. A lot of people had to deal with, you know, family ties being lost, possibly even a death in the family, things like that. There's been a lot of heavy energy earlier this year, particularly in the summer months. So it doesn't surprise me that this comes up in the recent past, because I think there was still things from those connections or other connections that you've had to deal with. So it wasn't like that energy had completely subsided. It was still there, or it had been brought back into focus by a different set of circumstances. But you're walking away from it, which is nice. That's in your past, okay? But then in your near future, you have the Devil in reverse. So again, with that Seven of Swords in your position of your challenge, I feel like for a lot of you actually, it is a case of there is some self-deception here. You know, there's something you're lying to yourself about. There's some truth that you're not wanting to face. Maybe it's how you feel regarding this Eight of Cups situation, whatever that was. Possibly it's in relation to a person, and we'll look at that in more detail. It could be in relation to a different circumstance. Maybe that you're walking away from someone did not bring you the peace of mind that you thought it would. That actually it's still making you sad in some way, or you still feel bound to the situation even though you've tried to walk away. Because of some hidden ties or some spiritual or emotional or, you know, energetic ties that haven't been completely severed yet. But you've got to remember, the Devil in reverse often represents the illusion, right? Often represents that it is not what it appears, right? So again, with that Seven, there's something that's being hidden here. It could be your true feelings on the matter. It could be someone is not being completely honest with their feelings or what they wanted from the situation. They may have just said, fine, go. But that was not really what they wanted. It could be that you're connecting with someone who's not telling you the full truth about the situation. That they may have some more going on behind the scenes than you realize. Not necessarily like in a cheating or a deceptive sense in that way, but maybe in their own lives, their personal lives, they may be contended with more things than you know. And even though you get a glimpse of it, they won't tell you everything. So you just kind of go along and act like everything's fine because you don't want to rock the boat, right? Because you're scared of being forced into this Eight of Cups situation again. So you're just trying not to rock the boat. But something needs to come out. Something needs to be communicated. Take it however it resonates or it applies. But there is some self-deception here, I feel, regardless. And someone is not communicating what's really going on. There's more to this than what meets the eye, okay? I'm getting that really strongly. So, okay, we'll look at that one, we'll clarify. So, in regards to your emotions at this time, you have the Ace of Cups in reverse. So yeah, I think you know what it is that you want. I think you know what you're looking for in a relationship, in a connection, in ties with family, friends, that sort of, you know, the bonds that matter most to you. You know what you want from them. You know what kind of relationship you're looking for. It's just, unfortunately, that you're not feeling like you're getting that at the moment. That in some way you feel like emotions are being held back from you, or you're having to hold back your emotions because something is not clear. You feel like some aspect of this situation is insincere. So that is what's preventing you from just pouring like you normally would, right? Because you can feel it. That something is amiss. There's something that you're not seeing, or there's something that you're not being open about, or that's not being communicated to you. I feel like you're not expressing yourself, so you're holding back because something is amiss about your circumstances. That is what I'm feeling for the most part. Okay, so that's why you're kind of holding back your emotions, because you're trying to protect yourself from feeling the Eight of Cups again, right? Because you don't want this energy anymore. You walked away from it. So you're trying to protect yourself at all costs, even if it means, you know, severing more ties or just having to really bite your tongue, right? Okay, so in regards to what's crowning you, what's within your power to affect, you have the Father of Cups. So this is your energy, Cancer. This is you at your highest peak, okay? So at this time, I feel like this is you, Cancer. This is you at in your element, okay? This is you when you're at your peak. You're at your peak performance. You know, King of Cups energy, water energy. So I think it's important that you know that you can step in this, that it's safe to allow yourself to feel, to express yourself. And you don't have to get so caught up in, you know, oh, but what if things go wrong, and what if it's not what it seems, and what if I get hurt again, okay? You have to learn the lesson that sometimes, yes, your ego is going to get a little bit bruised, but you have to let go. You have to surrender, let go of the fear, and just embrace what comes, you know, and what feels good to you and what feels right. Find that emotional balance. You don't have to give everything you have and leave nothing for yourself, right? The king doesn't do that. The queen is likely to do that, but not the king, okay? King of Cups is someone who's grounded emotionally, that is very emotional and expressive, but has emotional intelligence, okay? So you have to just find that grounding, and then from there just allow yourself to express how you feel. And that does mean communicating your concerns as well, right? So you have more power in this situation that you realize. Again, this is illusionary, remember? The devil in reverse. This is the illusion that you are powerless, that you are just stuck in this situation, and that you're going to be handed going to be dealt a bad hand, and you're going to have to deal with more bullshit, more lies, more deception, and that's not the case, okay? You have more power than you realize, so step into it. Okay, so in regards to the advice, you have the Six of Wands in reverse. So what is it that you think about? What is it that you're trying to achieve here? What are you trying to, what is the win for you? Okay, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Do you know what you want? Do you know what's going to bring you that passion back into your life, that fulfillment, that drive, right, towards success? Because if you don't know what it is that you're driving towards, how are you going to achieve this success, right? So think about what it is that you want in life, because I feel like how you've been feeling emotionally, particularly in regards to your connections with people, it's also affected your work life, it's affected your creativity, your hobbies, your interests, okay? So you're really having to step into the King of Cups energy and then really consider what it is that you want to do moving forward. Because I feel like something, whether it's in regards to work or your interests outside of work, some hobby or some passion that you have, has been sidelined for some time because of how you've been feeling and all of this chaos that's, you know, been ensuing with your relationships, okay? So that's why it's really important to address that now before this kind of gets worse and you're just kind of losing track of what it is that you actually care about and what you want your life to be like, right? Okay. So in regards to the external influences you have around you at this time, so this can be situations, people, you know, your environment, things on that level. You have the High Priestess in reverse, okay? So there may be certain company you're keeping at this time that's keeping you locked, that's keeping you distracted from really doing the inner work that you need to do, from really tapping into that highest sense of self, okay? So you may, again, with that Hermit in reverse, I feel like you need to find that balance. You need to have some time to retreat for yourself and really go in and meditate and do energy cleansing and balancing and all that sorts of thing, because you've been taking on everyone else's energy in this time, because you've been going out more and you've been more sociable, you've been going to events, you may have been even like even work circumstances, you may have been asked to, you know, host some kind of event or do some public speaking or you know, sort of put together a meeting or whatever it is, right? But it's forced you to be more sociable. And because of that, you feel like your intuition may be a little bit off at this time. You can't make sense of where your emotions start and someone else's start, right? Where your emotions end and someone else's start. Where your energy ends and someone else's start. Because you, as an empath, which many of you are, particularly a lot of water signs tend to be empaths, but of course this can apply to other signs as well. But if you are an empath, if you're particularly highly sensitive, you're going to be absorbing so much energy unless you know how to manage it and block certain energies, and to some extent everyone's energy that's been coming in. You're going to be feeling very mixed up. You're going to be feeling a lot of different energies. So you really need to take the time to, like, you know, basically process all of that, to clear all of that out and just really channel your own frequency, channel into yourself. You know, so you can feel that balance and peace of mind and groundedness and know that all that you're doing is coming from that state of mind, right? That there's no conflict or confusion. So in regards to your fears, you have the Five of Pentacles. So you're afraid at this time of being disregarded, of withering away, of being, again, powerless in the situation, feeling like you're being discarded because you've given all you had to give and there's nothing left. Okay, you're afraid of being depleted. You're afraid of being disregarded, abandoned. I really get, like, for me, this card is very much tied to abandonment issues, right? Especially when this comes in the position of the fears, the position of the fears, right? So I feel like for many of you, there is this fear of abandonment that needs to be processed and worked through as well, because of the circumstances you've been through in your past. I feel like that is there for some of you. For some of you, it's just merely a case of that because you've given so much, you just feel quite depleted at this time, and you're afraid. You're afraid that people are just going to drain you even more and leave you with nothing, right? That you're going to come out worse off rather than seeing things improve, right? But I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't see that here so far. I think it's more of a case of there is a lot of illusion and deception here, okay? So I think it's really, really important that you really look at your state of mind at this time, because it's kind of playing tricks on you a little bit. It's clouding your vision as to how circumstances truly are at this time. So it's really, really important that you do that inner work, so that, you know, your negative thoughts and fear and anxiety doesn't cloud your vision, that doesn't tell you it's one thing when the situation is something else, okay? So you also got, in regards to your hopes, you got the 8 of Wands. Okay, so I think you know that regardless of how tricky things are, there's always a way out, okay? There's always a way in which you can change how you do things. It doesn't have to be just this uphill struggle all the time. It depends largely on how you perceive it. But there's always going to be a way out of a situation. There's always going to be something that you can do to better your situation, right? That can really move you out of that space of the 8 of Cups and into the Father of Cups, right? The King of Cups energy. And I think you will find that, you know. I think you know that it's out there, that there is a solution to each and every problem you're facing at this time. But you're just trying to work out what it is. So that's why that time to yourself is really important, so you can reflect and have some time to, like, problem solve, right? To really just, you know, brainstorm what it is that you need to do. Yeah, this is within your grasp as well. Even though this is in the position of your hopes, I feel like this is within your grasp, you know. And I feel like for some of you, it will just hit you like that sort of lightning that's coming down on that wand. I feel like there'll be a moment where you just realize, like, oh my gosh, I could be doing this, right? This would solve this, and this. And if I then do that, then this will solve this, you know. It'll just kind of hit you all at once, I think, for many of you, where you've been going wrong, or what you could be doing to change your circumstances, or where you need to shift your focus, right? I think that will come to you by the end of the month. So that's good news, right? So in regards to the overall outcome for the month, you have the Son of Swords. So that's the that's the Knight of Swords, okay? So you see how the owl is coming in fast with that sword, okay? This energy is very much like no messing around. I'm just getting to the heart of the matter. I need to know what's going on, so I know what to do. I'm not dealing with bullshit anymore. I just want to make sense of all my circumstances at this time. I want my connections to be clear and honest and come from a good place. I want to be able to speak freely. You know, it's really coming into that energy of, like, I'm not being restricted in any way anymore. I'm just coming in and doing what I need to do, and I'm saying what I need to say, and I'm not having anyone suppress me in any way. Okay, so that's awesome, Cancer. That's exactly what you need to do, okay? Don't allow anything to stop you feeling like, you know, that you have no power, to make you feel like you have no power, or to stop you from being able to vocalize what needs to be said at this time, okay? Because it's really, really important. Okay, so I'm just clarifying now the cards. So we'll start with the Hermit in reverse, which is your current circumstance. And guess what came out? The Hermit in reverse again. So it's really telling you, like, you know, you need to kind of take some time to yourself. Do be sociable. It's good to be around people, but you may need some time for yourself, and you may need to be careful of where you get your advice from, because there's going to be certain things, particularly when it comes to your self-awareness and spiritual awareness, that the people you've been hanging around with may not necessarily be able to give you the right kind of information. So you may need to look for, you may need to come into contact with other sources for that kind of support, okay, while you do the work. Also, you have the Two of Swords in reverse. I think that you already know that you need to make yourself a priority, and you've already decided in your mind what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. You've already set boundaries in your mind, so you now just need to vocalize them, right? That's Knight of Swords energy. You just need to vocalize where your boundaries begin and end with pretty much all your connections, okay? So let's have a look then at the Seven of Swords, which is in your in the position of your current challenge, right? So let's just clarify that. What's this Seven of Swords all about for Cancer in the month of November? What is the Seven of Swords about? Because that's quite important. Alright, so we have the Three of Wands and the Ace of Wands. So with the Three of Wands, I feel like, okay, I think the deception here when it comes to yourself is that you've been looking elsewhere for the answers, okay? That you feel like if you keep looking elsewhere and you wait for your ships to come in to go elsewhere, that by leaving your current circumstances and moving on, it will solve your problems. But I don't feel like that's the truth. I feel like you would be escaping from what you need to learn right here and now. So if you have plans to go elsewhere, you may not decide to do that anymore. Even if you really did want to do it initially, I think a part of you knows that that's not necessarily the right course of action. Just because it's something that you've often done doesn't mean it's necessarily the right course of action at this time. Or it could be that you're waiting for someone to come back to you with an apology, right? And that's, you know you're not going to get it. So it's like, why are you kidding yourself waiting for that apology? It's not going to happen. Or you may be waiting for a person to come back into your life, like a family member that you're estranged from, or an ex-partner, with that Eight of Cups, especially if you did break up sometime this year. You may be waiting on them still to come back to you and apologize and try and make it work to like rebuild the connection. But I think you know that that's not going to happen, and even if they do come in, it's not going to be authentic, or it's not going to bring anything of substance, that you're not going to have the kind of relationship or connection that you were hoping for, right? And I think you know that that's the deception. You know that that's not the case. And it may be that there's something else coming in and you know that, but because of what you experienced in the past with, friends, family, or a partner, you're really reluctant for this new connection that's coming in or has come in. You're reluctant to give it your all because of this Eight of Cups, because of what you had to deal with not too long ago. So you're afraid to give it a chance, right? You think that you can't give it a chance because it may not be what it seems, especially with that devil energy there. I think you feel like you have to group everything with that, because everything has to be deceiving. Everything has to be an illusion, a lie. It's all of it, right? But I feel like you're grouping everything together that doesn't necessarily belong in the same category. So you have to be very, very careful. And that's why it's really important that you work on this, right? That's why it's really important that you work on this, that you really do the inner work and get your intuition on point, because right now your judgment is being clouded, okay? So you may not be seeing something for what it really is. So I just want to quickly I don't often clarify additional cards, but I just want to quickly clarify what this Ace of Wands is, because I feel like obviously that is there's something not being seen in regards to that. Okay. So you got the Three of Cups. So it's possible that the reason why you're not willing to trust it is because you believe that there's someone else in the mix, that you're being lied to. And maybe you are. Maybe it's possible that that is actually happening and that is not something imagined. Because especially with the two threes, okay? Or it could be the fact that you're simply not trusting the connection because you're still waiting for someone from the past to come back in. Right? There's something about it that's not quite right. So it could be just simply that you're looking at the past, but then you're looking ahead at the future. So it's just not really, it's not really a good space for you to operate in, right? Because if you're constantly looking back, but then looking forward, then looking back, then looking forward, how do you expect to make any progress? It's not going to work, is it? So it's really important that, you know, you make peace with the past and you move forward, because that's not going to be healthy for you, okay, if that's the situation that applies. If you're concerned that it's not that, and that you're dating someone and there could be someone else in the mix, talk to them, okay? You need to confront them about that, if there's any reason why you would suspect that. Because obviously it's not healthy to just continue like everything's fine if you think something's wrong. So it's really important that you do that work, okay? Just like have that conversation and see what exactly the case may be. But until you have that talk, you're not going to know anything, okay? So don't bottle that up. That's really, really important. Okay, so let's have a look at the the Eight of Cups. Okay, 3 cards came flying out. So the Eight of Cups in your recent past, which is this one. You have the Justice, which is Libra energy. 2 of Cups and the 3 of Pentacles. So just looking at this now, yeah, I feel like your previous connection, whether it's with a family member, a friend, or a partner, had to end because you were being moved in a different direction, okay? You were being moved towards something else because the circumstance you were in at that time was not serving you. You was being moved for a higher purpose, okay? There was some other thing that needed to take place. There was something that you were being guided towards. So if you stayed within the circumstances you were in, that would be hindering your learning, your, you know, growth in some way. So you're kind of being forced out of the situation by the universe itself for your highest good, even though it didn't feel like it at the time. At the time, it probably felt really shitty, actually, and it was hard for you. It was really, really important because, like I said, that's realigning you to something that's more geared to where it is that you're heading, right? There's something else that you need to learn. So that's why you had to go through those difficult situations. That's why you had to kind of experience the heartbreak a little bit, because the situation you were in was not right for you at that time anymore. Okay. So let's have a look at the Devil in reverse in your near future. Okay. What a weird combination. Interesting. Okay, that's awesome. So, as I said, that's an illusion, okay? That Devil in reverse energy, that's something that's not real, okay? It's not real. And to confirm it, you have the Tower in reverse and you have the Sun card, okay? The Sun is like ultimate joy, bliss, happiness. And with the Tower in reverse, that shows me that the worst in regards to this situation, it's already happened, okay? You've already been through the worst of it. So why are you still expecting something negative to happen when you've already passed that with this circumstance, okay? Like, you can't destroy the tower twice when it's already broken, okay? It's just that you're seeing little pieces of it fall apart still. And that's what's making you feel like there's more carnage to come. But that's not necessarily the case. It's still... There's things about what happened that needs addressing still, okay? Because it hasn't been fully resolved. But then when you do, you're going to move into such a good place. You're going to be so much happier, okay? Especially if you embody that King of Cups energy. You're going to be so much happier for it, you know? So don't hold on to the past. Let it go. Because your future looks very, very bright, as we can see with the sun, okay? So let go of that you know, the pain that you're still hanging on to from the past. Okay, so in regards to your feelings, the Ace of Cups here in reverse, you have the Seven of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So you're not wanting to wait for things to just, improve in your circumstances. You're not wanting to just wait for, your life to just, magically become fixed and to feel like everything you ever wanted has come true and you're happy ever after is there. Okay, you know it's not going to work like that. So you're willing to put the work in. You're willing to go after what it is that you want. However, I feel like you're still conflicted as to what it is that you want. You're not entirely sure and you're a bit nervous. I feel like you're a bit anxious to move forward because there's so many things surrounding you at this time that still feels unclear to you. With, your passions, your your connections, especially on a romantic sense. So I feel like you're having to really assess what it is that you want at this time, right? Because you're unsure. There's something you're unsure about. And I think it's just because of all these emotions that you're still processing, it's just left you feeling very uncertain about everything. So as I said, if you do that work and you really process what it is that you're feeling and understand that a lot of that is just residual energy from all the interactions you've had with different people and their circumstances, from also still processing things from the past, then you'll begin to be able to let that go, and you won't have that clouding your vision anymore. You'll be able to see more clearly what it is that you're moving towards and what it is that you want. Okay. So in relation to the King of Cups then, which is in the position of what's crowning you at this time. Interesting. Oops. Are you dropping everything? Okay, so you got the Chariot, which is your card, Cancer. Okay, so this is you. This is what I'm telling you about. You need to get back into your power. You need to move back into your own energy. Okay, reconnect with self. That is the biggest thing for you at this time. And you got the Knight of Cups in reverse, so it's like telling you stop relying on other people to create that fulfillment, okay? You are everything you need. So let that baggage go. Move towards yourself. Believe in yourself, okay? Okay, so in relation to the advice with that Six of Wands in reverse, you have the Ten of Wands in reverse. So once you know what it is that you're moving towards, you can bring certain circumstances or things that are no longer serving you in regards to your passions to an end. You have the Queen of Wands in reverse. So until you do that, you're really not going to be able to master what it is that you want to achieve. And the Page of Swords in reverse. So you may need to learn how to... You may need to change how you communicate what it is that you want. You may have to relearn what it is to express your passions, to relearn how to go about making it happen, okay? There may be some skills that you have to learn when you figure out exactly how you want to go about your passion, your creative interest or project. Or you may be starting a new one with this ending here and a new beginning. You may be changing something completely or starting a whole new hobby or practice of some sort, and you're having to learn more about it in order to move forward on it, which you may not be doing right now. So it may be that you need to really look into what it is that you need in order to be able to do it successfully, right? Okay, so in regards to the external influences, that High Priestess in reverse here. Okay. So you got, first of all, the King of Swords in reverse. So yeah, until your intuition is really on point and that you do the inner work and really reconnect with yourself, you can't really communicate in the best way and from the most authentic place, because your mind is still muddled, okay, and your perception may be a bit off. So you need to do that in order to be in that King of Swords energy where you can really cut to the chase here and communicate clearly, because otherwise you could end up saying things that you'll later regret. You got the Eight of Cups here, so yeah, I think you're kind of feeling the emotional lack right now, but that's because, again, I feel like your intuition is off and you're not communicating properly with whoever it is you're connecting with at this time. So you may be feeling lack where there actually is none. It's just you're not communicating your true feelings or your concerns, and you're not able to see things clearly because you know, you're just absorb too many emotions, too many energies from other people, but also because you're still dealing with things from the past. And then you got the Queen of Swords as well. So you got the King of Swords in reverse and the Queen of Swords in the upright. So that's already a pair. So that's most likely in relation to a relationship or some kind of romantic connection or partnership. With the two, you know, with the pair there being the power couple and all. So it's likely to be quite a significant connection. So you're kind of trying to I feel like you're trying to communicate your feelings, but it's not coming from the best place because of your fear and anxiety from the things that you've had to deal with from the past, right? Because of the emotions you had from your previous relationship, from a family feud or whatever it was. So you're having to really do that inner work so that you can see clearly and so that you can communicate properly, rather than, you know, embodying this kind of harder, harsher energy, okay? So let's have a look then in regards to your fears, which was the Five of Pentacles in the upright. So you have the Six of Swords in the upright. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like not only are you afraid that you're going to be disregarded, abandoned, not going to have your feelings or your situation acknowledged, I think you're afraid that you're going to have to just I think you're afraid that you're going to have to surrender in some way to the circumstance, that, again, this feeling of powerless, being powerless in the situation and just accepting whatever it is, you know, as it is for what it is. You know, just laying your arms down and waving your white flag, right? I feel like that's what you're concerned about. You don't want to have to just, you know, accept whatever the circumstances may be, regardless of how that makes you feel, right? Again, just feeling powerless, that's what I'm seeing a lot. Yeah. Because you know what you want and what makes you happy, so the last thing you want to do is just embrace things as they are currently, because it's not making you so happy. Okay. And what about the Eight of Wands in the upright, which is in your position of the hope, your hopes at this time? Okay, so you got the Knight of Cups in reverse, which is interesting, and you got the Wheel of Fortune. So you're hoping for clarity in order to be able to really feel that passion again, but at the same time, you're not wanting to extend yourself too much in regards to how you feel towards someone. You're not wanting to do that. At least you're not wanting to rush that. However, circumstances are changing, okay? There is a new cycle beginning. So you may have to readdress how you're approaching that, because it may not be working for you at this time. Even though that's, you know, what you feel comfortable with doing, I think you're getting kicked out of your comfort zone at this time. And you're kind of being shown that, yes, you have to be vulnerable. It's okay to express your feelings. And that, yes, okay, there's always a risk that when you start a new relationship or a new connection or a new business partnership or whatever it is, there's always a chance you could get burned, but there's a chance it could be very, very successful. So you have to take the risk, right? Okay, and then in regards to your current circumstances, you have the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Hanged Man in reverse. So yeah, that's interesting because you've got the Knight of Swords in the upright and then you've got it in the reverse. So I feel like someone is taking on a different role here. So whoever this reading, whoever this connection is that you're beginning, whoever that is related to, they're taking the opposite approach of how they usually are. So where they may usually be in this energy, they're in this energy. They're not going forward, they're not communicating, they're retreating. Whereas you would normally be in this energy, Cancer, retreating, not communicating. You are moving forward and you're communicating strongly. So it's like role reversal is going on right now. Yeah, because you're both taking a different perspective on things. You're both feeling that you're at a crossroads and that you can only move forward or just, you know, not move at all, right? There's no going back. You can either, you know, let go of the past, things from the past, whatever, you know, past hurts there were, or even if it's in relation to this connection, someone might be holding some grudge or some ill feelings or some pain even within this connection, but you're being forced to let go of that because there's no alternative. You're both kind of stuck within this, so you either move forward or you don't move at all and you let go of things. You just, you know, you just stop. So that's the choice you have to make, Cancer. Do you move forward or do you just let go of it all? That's what you need to decide here. I feel like because I feel like you've kind of decided you want this and you've been taking steps towards this, but there's still a lot of hesitancy, there's still a lot of confusion because of emotions from the past. So, and because of all the energies you've been taking on from those around you. So you really need to decipher what's yours, what's not yours, let that go, do a lot of clearing, and then, you know, tap into what it is you truly want. And the things that you know are hindering you from the past that have no place in your life now, work on letting that go so you can move forward, whether it's with this person or by yourself. But you need to do that work and come to this conclusion of whether or not you're going to move forward with this person or you're just going to let go, okay? So I know that's quite heavy. There's a lot there to process. Sorry about that beeping. The washing machine is going off, so I need to go and sort that out. And yeah, I hope that this was helpful. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, sorry for all the distractions and banging all the rest of it. You know, what can I do? But yeah, do let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And yeah, we'll look at your next reading to see what we have in store for you. Okay, so take care for now.